Hey, what's good? It's a Coconut Talks Cricket, the show where a coconut talks about cricket. Show or something, I don't know, figuring that stuff out. Anyway, as the title would suggest, I am predicting the World Test Championship. I'm just going to talk through why I chose what I chose, um, and just going to run through my predictions. We'll see what's going on in the finals. So we will talk. Let's talk about the first um, India versus New Zealand game. So, oh, sorry, the third game. Uh, as a shock to basically everyone, New Zealand has won the first two games in quite convincing fashion at that. India were rolled over, to be frank, never really stood a chance. I was thinking that possibly India would have. I mean, India is we're definitely not favorites. Um, come the third game, but I mean, to me personally, but I feel like they definitely had a decent chance. In terms of odds, it seems like they were favorites, which just makes zero sense to me. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? They've lost the series 2-0. They've been thoroughly outclassed. Like what kind of what are you on? Like whoever's like the in charge of the odds or something. I mean, probably should go by like betting odds. Those are usually more accurate. But yeah, but like after the first day of play, I feel like it's gonna go neat. I mean, I definitely can see India pulling back. Their middle order is strong enough to recover from that late collapse they had in like the last 30 minutes or something, when Virat went for that silly run, um, DSP, Sir Vivian Siraj that review, um, and Jaiswal. I mean, I don't think it's a stupid shot necessarily. It's like because from what I understand, it's been the trend throughout that day of play. It's them playing the reverse sweeps. I don't think it was as stupid as this as well. It was just him sticking to his game, though he probably should have. No, no, I don't think so. He was sticking to his game, so I don't think Jaiswal getting out is a was really like chalked up to a stupid decision. So maybe that's a little bit of Jaiswal glazing on my part. I am a massive Jaiswal fan, but even so, I do while I do feel like India has the ability to pull it through, like they have in all of these in the other two games as well. They've had moments where they actually could have won, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be New Zealand. So New Zealand wins that first game. But yo, third game. Then Australia versus India. I believe after that abysmal performance, with all due respect to India, they don't really deserve it to be fair. I feel like it's going to be going Australia's way. I can't see India winning one. I'm inclined to say maybe Australia three, and then maybe draw one and India wins one. Though maybe not in this order, because let's look at this. So, like, where's okay? So Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. I I'm terrible with the knowing what goes in the stadiums. Where's the GABA? Uh, the GABA in yes, the GABA in cricket. Where is it? Uh, Brisbane Cricket Ground. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, they're definitely winning in Brisbane, that's for sure. I'm trying to remember. Things aren't going well for me, aren't they? Uh, okay. Anyway, I don't think that, from what I remember, that Australia necessarily has a strong. Well, they actually have a decent place in Sydney, so I can see them winning in Sydney. They'll definitely win Perth. So realistically, I honestly see like a whitewash, but I'd be inclined to give them. No, but yeah, I'm just like I haven't watched an Australia test in a while, so I think that's why I don't remember the fields too well. Australia, in fairness, the batting hasn't been the best, so maybe Adelaide goes their way. Though Australia is also very good in Adelaide, so realistically, all of these games should be going to Australia. But yeah, I really don't see India clinching that. Maybe maybe like a 3-2 or something like that. Maybe that one won't be a draw, but I don't see them winning the series. West Indies, Bangladesh. Well, it's we saw how bad Bangladesh was at home against South Africa, right? So it's a shame because I mean, rivalry aside, as a Sri Lankan, you know, we are rivals. I'm not a fan of this Bangladeshi boys, but you want to see them succeed and all that. And after that that Pakistan test, it was they looked promising, and then they kind of dropped the ball in India. But I mean, of course, who doesn't drop the ball in India? That's perfectly fine. except for some reason, an in transition New Zealand team that lost in Sri Lanka, they could beat India at home. Weird, but anyway, but like the fact that they lost to South Africa in at home is this is just not good for them. Um, that like how does that happen? South Africa weren't even in contention. Like they don't even consider their test team there. It's like it's not even on the forefront of the South African cricket board. It's not really a priority. And they if I can remember correctly, they sent like their D team to New Zealand or something like that. It was really bad. So it's like how would you let that happen? So yeah, I really don't see Bangladesh winning. They have the capability to get things going, which is it's just that something doesn't click for them, and I don't know what it is. I'll have to look into that a bit more. But yeah, now New Zealand at home, I see that going to whoops, Bazball in Bazballing. Unfortunately, I see going 2-2, and then England. I feel like could pull maybe one. Hagley Basin Reserve. I wish I knew more about how well the home team performs in each of these venues. I really don't. Um, because not a complete nerd. But I feel like that's fairly accurate. I do believe that England does have the capability to win in New Zealand. That's just the way how basketball is. It is unpredictable, but New Zealand have been in good form, and they are very and again they're at home. Of course, English conditions are very similar to New Zealand conditions, so there's that. Um, but also in recent currently the pace attack for England is in transition. Let me actually just check their lineup right now. Oh, that's the ODI series. Whoopsie daisies. Um, but they are in transition and they're not really in. They don't have the best pace lineup. Obviously, it's not going to be the same because this is in Pakistan, where they're fielding more spinners. Though I mean, they only really field yeah, they fielded two spinners. Potts is still going to play. Cars is probably still going to play. Ben Stokes. I guess Mark Wood's going to be in there, and they probably should be looking towards playing Chris Wokes. I don't know how good Chris Wokes' record is in New Zealand. It's probably not great because it's not the best outside England. Unfortunately, as a massive Chris Wokes fan, it's just not. He's just not good outside home. But I would assume it's not too. He's not too bad in New Zealand now that I think about it because it's again New Zealand conditions are very tailored towards pace bowling and specifically seam bowling. The and that's just like clear from the kind of bowlers that have come out of New Zealand. You have your Trent Bolts and you have your Tim Southees. Of course, you have more recent guys like Wula Roper, a little bit different. Of course, the other tall guy, Kyle Jamieson. There we go. All different, but like it is just the fact that the conditions are suitable towards um, seam bowling and just like hitting sort of like letting the ball, having pitches that let the ball deviate a lot more, that with a lot of overcast, the ball swings a lot. After it pitches, it gets a lot of turn, such and so forth. So that those are conditions that England can work with, but ultimately it is New Zealand at home, and I don't trust England's ability to pull that series. Now, South Africa versus Sri Lanka. This is tricky because before the Bangladesh test, I was a lot more strongly in belief that Sri Lanka could win this, and now I'm a little bit more unsure because South Africa is is definitely looking to be informed. Kagis Rabada is bowling gas. Took the fastest to reach 300 because I think he's also number one in the ICC test rankings currently, but for fast bowler. Um, and what else? Mm, the batting. I do think the batting hasn't been the strongest, but of course they're going to be at home. But even at home, like South Africa has been having batting issues recently. Like, yeah, this is Aiden Markham showing 6, 30, 20 to Dorsey. Do not know who that is. Tristan Subs, I do know who that is. Matthew Britske, Bretsko, Kyle Varane. Yes, they had two, three guys who really scored decently, and no one else did. In the second innings, a little better. Uh, Tony DeZorzi scored. Zorzi scored 41, 20, 30 from Tristan Stubbs was not out, and while David Bedingham is not particularly great, 12 for 13. So, and then if you look at the second test, I mean, I think it's well, okay, that's a bit different, isn't it? But so you have Tony DeZorzi. Yeah, okay. So solid batting lineup. Now I don't know because the thing is South Africa has been was struggling as a test team before. Like they weren't a particularly great test team, and they've just sort of come out of nowhere, kind of like Sri Lanka has, and so they're a lot harder to predict. I'd be inclined to believe that I can definitely see them winning 2-0, but I just for the maybe it's no, I'm going to be blatant with my bias. I'm going to be a bit biased. It's we have too many very professional people in cricket YouTube. We need a little bit of on professionalism. We need some Lucas Tracy's and bedtime MMA's in cricket. Shout out to them. I I can definitely see South Africa. I wouldn't be surprised if South Africa goes 2-0, but I would like to say it's two it's 1-1, not two. What the hell? Okay. Where is this one happening? Okay. Anyway, South Africa versus Pakistan. Now this I definitely do think is going to go South Africa's way. Um, Jared Chambers made a great video on it. Just because Pakistan won this series at home, that doesn't really realistically mean anything. Those conditions don't match the same as South Africa's conditions, which are more conducive for pace. Uh, Pakistan has kind of screwed over the pace attack. They've dropped their some of the more talented pacers, and they've mismanaged things horrible, and that's because South Africa is a sorry, Pakistan is an incredibly unprofessional. The Pakistani cricket board is incredibly unprofessional. It's a lot of work, and introducing three new players into the team is not going to fix all that nonsense. Jared Kimber's made a pretty great video, and you're going to hear a lot of Jared Kimber glazing from me because he's like probably makes the best cricket and analysis videos on YouTube in English. So yeah, a lot of Jared Kimber glazing, and yeah, Pakistan. Let's not get it twisted. That was an incredible series win. Does not make them a good team. They are not a good team in the slightest. Now considering the West Indies, uh, I want to say I don't think they're gonna win this. I actually didn't realize these games are happening, so I gotta think about it now. Um, the West Indies have. Let me look at their lineup actually. England. Whoops. Okay. Um, when does this even happen? Oh my goodness, it's happening. Uh, on the 24th. Oh wow, it's very long from now. But yeah, like let me look at their last test game. So it was last test I think was against England. No, it was against South Africa. And yeah, so you see what I mean? Like drawing against the West Indies, it's not the best performance at home, especially. No, sorry. Wow, that's embarrassing for West Indies. Never mind. Um, correct. Yeah, Ian Mulder. I'm pretty sure he's a spinner, isn't he? I recognize that name. Uh, never mind. Is a right arm medium base bowler. Whoops. Um, but like okay, Joshua De Silva. The last time I watched the West Indies play Test cricket was the England series, and obviously they didn't they had moments there, but they didn't really perform to the best. And that's the thing. I feel like the West Indies team has the capability to win games and win them really well, but it's just like they don't all click at the same time. One like so you need to be efficient. You need Shamar Joseph, Seals, and Alzari. Joseph really clicking at the same time. You also need like that. Let me pull it up. Okay, you need like Craig. Okay, Craig back. Wait, of course, Craig back Brathwaite. Michael Lewis. Don't remember him, but all the way down to like Kevin Hodge. Kevin Hodge was doing decently. I can remember that. Jason Older did decently. Joshua De Silva scored. He would score a few big totals, but he would miss out. From what I remember, I don't because I don't think he scored 100. I don't think any of them scored 100. That's problematic. Um, the middle order has been, from what I remember, and as we're seeing clearly from this as well, it has been um, inconsistent at best. It's not reliable, and and especially since they're at home, I don't see. Yeah, Pakistan are. In fairness, it's not gonna matter much. I shouldn't have spent that much time on that, but it's fine. Now to the exciting stuff. Maybe a controversial take, but this is Sri Lanka at home, right? And I don't think Australia have the lineup to beat Sri Lanka at home. Um, they don't necessarily. They have guys who can play spin well. Uh, do they? Well, I mean, they do. It's just that like there's been plenty of, but it's like it's just can you play 5 day consistent spin on tracks that really turn? That's the big thing. Like these are very spin heavy tracks, and you have someone like Prabhat Jayasuriya who was extremely good in Candy. You know, you have all these fantastic um, spinners, and then very the paces are the highlights. Of course, Asita Fernando is very solid. I do think he's a legitimately fantastic all rounder. He's just underwhelming because he plays in the subcontinent. But they're all fantastic players. Um, and I really don't see Australia really pulling it through against Sri Lanka at home because we're at home. Let me just did they and I can't remember if they announced their lineup. Okay, so looking at the last Test series that Australia played, which was probably a while ago, wasn't it? Was it the one? Okay, this one against New Zealand, which was on. Was it really that long? I could have sworn. Oh, what the hell? No shot. What? Really? I swear the Shamar Joseph test was way more recent. Oh my god, it's been a while. Oh wow, okay. So okay. There we go. So most recent line out. C Smith hasn't. I do think they're pushing him down the order, but he hasn't really been well in opening. Usman Khawaja has stopped peaking. He was incredible during that Ashes season. And he scores in clusters and then he stops. Manas Labuschagne has been clicking. Cam Green, of course, hasn't been either. Yeah, Mitch Marsh. It's sort of like the middle order that the middle to lower order that kind of saves it, and it's primarily these. Cameron Green had a bad performance, but he's been fairly decent as a batter. He's been averaging like 30. Marnus hasn't been good in a while. Usman Khawaja hasn't either, which is very sad to hear because I really like Usman Khawaja. And then of course Marnus scores, but like yeah, no, Marnus hasn't been the most consistent. He did score the 90, but you know he didn't score as well in the next innings, and I believe in the previous one as well. Yeah, so Cam Green scoring 100. First innings, Marnus only scoring. Yeah, so Marnus hasn't been consistent. It was just that 190 run, 90 was sort of like an outlier. So really, Australia has a lot of top order issues, and they don't really have great players spin besides maybe Travis Head. Travis Head is pretty good player spin. Um, I would like to say Carey is a decent player spin, but I'm not entirely sure. But overall, not the best players to spin, and really only one, Nathan Lyon, and that other off spinner who I forget the name of. Nathan Lyon, he's going to do fantastically. Well, the thing is, we have on Sri Lanka's side. Oh, okay, that's the final. Yeah, on in Sri Lanka's side, you have some. I'm trying to think. So you have Kamindu Mendes, you have Kusal Mendes is back further down the order. Who is opening? I forgot. Whoops, that is embarrassing. Um, I forgot who was opening. Crap. It's gonna be the same as the one at home. So yeah, of course, coming the Mendes is gonna come in like three or yeah, he's coming at four. Um, Number three, I'm pretty sure is DDS Dhananjaya De Silva. Oh, sorry, it's, Dinesh Chandimal. Yeah, Tuatun Nisanka. Tuatun Nisanka, more of a strike rate. I would like to say like a strike rate batter. He's fairly consistent. He scores around he tends to hit average about 30 to 40. Um, but he's not outstanding with things. When he clicks, and so that's why I think we should stick to him because when he has his moments, he's very good. Timoth had an underwhelming series in England, but he is solid at home, as evident here. He is consistent at home. Consistent is a very good opener. Dinesh Chandimal has been having a very good run of form. Batted really well in England, even with injuries. Did really well in Sri Lanka as well. Matthews has been fairly consistent, decent middle order. Kaminda Mendes, we all know him. Don Bradman 2.0, the GOAT. Not much else to say about Kaminda Mendes. DDS, class player, consistent, solid bat, Dhananjay De Silva. And then after that, like it's after Cosal Mendes that you get into the. Well, Nishan Perez is. I can't remember much about him because he was a little he was quite underwhelming. Um, well, I shouldn't say underwhelming. He was a run of the mill kind of kind of like he's just there kind of bowler. But yeah, so I guess that this lineup is more in tune to sorry, this batting lineup is more suited for the conditions, obviously, because they're at home. Simultaneously, Sri Lanka also has bowlers who are extremely good at extracting the conditions. That even the pacers, Asita Fernando, 4 overs by the way, that's ridiculous. Like he won't bowl many overs, but he will be good with them. He will be effective in them. Um, and the spinners like primarily Prabhat Jayasuriya, but all the spinners, everyone they will be able to chip in, and there's plenty of guys who can bowl part-time spin as well, and they good part-time spin. DDS is a pretty good part-time spin bowler. Nissan Perez, okay, I take that back. He took 6 wickets. I completely forgot about that. But he's like a proper tail ender. He's not the best bat. No, that's not true. He's a decent bat. I am just remembering everything. This is embarrassing. Prabhat Jayasuriya, Sita Fernand, like it's not the best place for pace, especially in Gaul. Gaul is a proper spinning wicket. So if and Prabhat Jayasuriya lives in Gaul. Nishan Perez had a pretty good run of form. Dhananjay De Silva is gonna chip in, and then there is of course let me look at the other one because we did have someone else. Nishan Perez was substituted in for I forget his name. Um, he did score. What's his name? Ramesh Mendes. There we go. So Ramesh Mendes, of course, decent bat as well, decent bowler. Um, yeah, like 3 wickets both games, decent, pretty solid. Like, and this was in also in Gaul. So like I mean, yeah, similar, it's basically the same conditions, but you're gonna get those very consistent spin heavy conditions across Sri Lanka, and it's just become more and more in that way. So it's like there's really I really don't see Australia winning any game. At most, I can see them drawing one, but I don't see them winning a game. That's just not doesn't seem likely, especially with the Sri Lanka team with under Sanat Jayasuriya, who have been in pretty good form as of recent. It's not happening. It's not happening. So finals are Sri Lanka versus South Africa at Lords. I just want to mention if England were to have made it to the finals, like I don't know, this feels a little bit scammy because it's like oh well, England has a home field advantage. So anyway, it seems a little bit messed up, but it is what it is. I do like the fact that if it's a non English team, if it's not England and they're playing at Lords, I like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna back Sri Lanka here. Very biased, completely unbiased take there. Of course, South Africa can always win it, but actually, what would happen if it was a draw? I do want to, I gotta figure that out. Anyway, yeah, that is my prediction. I do think Sri Lanka's gonna win the uh the World Test Championship. Uh, and that is how I predict the rest of the World Test Championship going along. So yeah, let me know how wrong I am, how wrong you think I am, how wrong I am. Well, obviously, if you think I'm wrong, you're wrong because I'm right and you're wrong. That's just it. But like, just yeah, you want to hear the thoughts and everything. Yeah, and let's see if I eat my words or not. Cheers.